He studied the minds of criminals, how they think, how they slip up. But what if the man studying criminal behavior was plotting something of his own? This is Brian Kohberger, a PhD student in criminology, 28 years old, and the prime suspect in one of the most disturbing cases in recent history. Was it calculated? Was it personal? Or was it a twisted fantasy brought to life? This is the full story of Brian Kohberger, the man behind the mask. This video is brought to you by Lindsay Unfiltered. If you like content like this that revolves around scandal, controversy, and true crime, make sure to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. Brian was born in Aberystwyth, Pennsylvania. Described as intelligent but socially distant, he reportedly struggled with addiction in high school, but later found structure in academics, especially in the study of criminal justice. In 2022, he was pursuing a PhD in criminology at Washington State University, located just a short drive from the University of Idaho. Classmates noted his intense interest in discussing criminal psychology, often analyzing real-life cases during lectures. Little did they know, one such case would soon hit alarmingly close to home. November 13, 2022. A quiet night in Moscow, Idaho. 4 University of Idaho students, Kaylee Goncalves, Madison Mogan, Zana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin, were in their off-campus residence. Some had been out for the evening, others stayed in. By the early morning hours, they were all asleep. But according to investigators, someone entered the home undetected. Authorities allege that what happened next was swift and devastating. 4 young lives were tragically ended. No signs of forced entry, no immediate suspect. A college town was thrust into fear and mourning, and the person responsible remained at large. But even the most careful plans can leave traces. Surveillance footage revealed a white Hyundai Elantra making multiple passes near the residence that night. Further investigation showed that Brian's phone had been near the victim's home on at least 12 occasions prior to that night, though it was inactive during the critical hours. Adding to the intrigue, a Reddit post surfaced from a user believing to be Brian, inquiring about the emotions experienced while committing crimes. This wasn't random. This appeared calculated, a study, perhaps even a rehearsal. What really caught the attention of investigators, though, was the eerie alignment between Brian's academic pursuits and the real-world case unfolding around him. In that Reddit post, he sought anonymous input from individuals who had broken the law, asking questions about their mindset, their emotions, their planning. It wasn't just academic curiosity. It mirrored the exact behavioral patterns investigators were analyzing in this case. Even his late-night drives, his silence on social media, and abrupt changes in routine painted a picture, not just of a suspect, but of someone studying human behavior. So I know you're probably thinking, how did Brian Kohberger get caught? Well, at first, it wasn't so easy. Police were dodging lots of questions at press conferences, saying that everything was under investigation, they had no names yet. Generally, when the police say things are under investigation, they have a lead or they have a tip. Come to find out, they didn't want to say anything in those open press conferences to tip Brian Kohberger off. Because yes, he may have been their lead, but they didn't have the evidence to pin him to this crime. He got picked up for this crime when the evidence reflected that there was a good chance he was there. Brian Kohberger was apprehended on December 30th, 2022 in Pennsylvania. A significant piece of evidence, a knife sheath left at the scene, reportedly bearing his DNA. Authorities matched his DNA to samples collected from trash outside of his parents' home. So like I said, Brian Kohberger was a lead, but the public and the media at large were very frustrated because the police made it seem as if they didn't know who their guy was just yet. In court, Brian appeared composed, offering little emotion. He has pleaded not guilty to the charges. Prosecutors citing the weight of the evidence. We have the car, we have the Reddit post, we have his cell phone pinging there 12 times. And directly thereafter the incident, we have the DNA found on the scene. With the gravity of that very damning evidence, they are seeking the unaliving penalty, and some of the victims' families are right in line with that. As many are left pondering, was this a meticulously planned act, a manifestation of a dangerous obsession, or is there more to the story yet to be uncovered? The legal process in the Brian Kohberger case is still unfolding, but what we do know paints a picture filled with tension, questions, and silence. Kohberger has maintained his innocence, entering a not guilty plea. His defense team is leaning heavily on the idea that circumstantial evidence isn't enough, that digital data, camera footage, and behavioral patterns don't directly place him at the scene in a way that proves intent or identity. But the prosecution is building its case brick by brick, from the DNA found on the knife sheath to surveillance footage, cell tower pings, and that infamous white Elantra. And behind the scenes, investigators are working overtime to ensure that every detail is bulletproof. The courtroom atmosphere, electric. Media outlets flooded the courthouse. Internet sleuths dissected every clip, every expression, every word spoken by Kohberger or his attorneys. And yet, what stands out most is his demeanor. Cold, calculated, barely reacting, sitting through it all as though he's still observing for a thesis. Except this time, the experiment is on him. This trial isn't just about proving guilt or innocence. It's a test of modern forensics, digital footprints, and how our online lives can become the strongest evidence in real-life investigations. If convicted, Brian could face the most severe legal consequences possible. But if reasonable doubt holds, this case could go down as one of the most controversial courtroom battles in recent history. Personally, I think the evidence is just too damning for Brian Kohberger not to be involved with this. The car, the cell phone pings, to me, are the most telling because it shows where you were, how you traveled around those critical hours, and then you have your DNA at the crime scene. How else would it be there? These people don't know you. They don't have any ties to you. You weren't their friend. And his motive? Who knows? But in my unfiltered opinion, on November 13th, Brian Kohberger was at that home. For you all watching, I leave you with this question. Can one delve into the darkness without being enveloped by it? Share your thoughts in the comment. Do you believe the evidence points unequivocally to guilt, or is there more beneath the surface? This has been another in-depth analysis. If you found this compelling, please like, subscribe, and share for more explorations into true crime. Until next time, this has been Lindsay Unfiltered. Bye now.